Turn it down just a little bit. Can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. Well, I kind of want to tell you a little bit about the vision of what we're doing here, and then we'll get started. Basically, what 1 Million Cups is about is we're here to educate the community on local startups. We're also here to help equip local entrepreneurs in their presentation skills. And then we're also here to help accelerate their business in the community and nationally and internationally. Basically what it is a presenter will come up and present for 6 minutes. They'll have a slide deck. They'll tell you what it's about. And then we'll have 20 minutes of Q&A. And that's where a lot of the value comes in, is just hearing back from you guys, just getting some feedback from you. And this morning, we've got 2 companies presenting. Our first company is called iDefi, and Brady Deaton is here to present. It's a platform where brands create competitions to win products and services through social networking. So if you guys could, let's give Brady a hand as he comes to present.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Sound okay? Like Brad said, it is a platform. It's a 2-sided platform in which brands create competition. They give artists, with the musicians first, give them opportunities to compete with those by social networking, which makes the brand's message go viral. This year, there were 50,000 artists that used one of our competitors called Sonic Kids. They paid $45 to apply to play at South by Southwest. This was just one event, 50,000 artists. And that equals out to $2.3 million in revenue. Sonic Bids mainly deals with live events. They use judges to make the decisions. Again, it costs the artist money to do it. The iDefi model is different. It's free to the artist. We work hand in hand with the brands, and I'll go right into the model and show you how it works. So let's just assume that we've got a company like Nike, and they've got a new type of tennis shoe that they're coming out with. And I'm an artist, and I've got a song, and I say, hey, I think my song would be great for that. They've got an opportunity for my song to be featured in a Nike commercial, national advertising. So I've got a song that's perfect. I'm going to apply for it. I'm going to go for it. And when I do, a widget's created. As you can see, the widget has information about myself, about my band, which in this case is called Band Name. Not very creative. We're going to work on it. And then it's also got some music. You can also have video embedded in the widget. But mainly it's got information about Nike. So to compete, I shared this widget with all my fans on social networking, Facebook, Twitter, and so forth, and encourage them to vote, encourage them to click on it. So each time they click on it, my chances to win improve. And Nike can set this up to where they say, hey, the one that shares the most, they get to win, or we're going to judge from the top 5 artists, however they'd like to do it. And it's an open platform, and where it's open to not just live events, but also brands of any kind, any size, any shape, can go in and create a profile, run a campaign. Now, revenue comes from 2 different areas. Again, it's a 2-sided platform consisting of artists, musicians, and brands. So brands will pay on a per-click basis. So each time this ad is shared, then we get revenue from that. But also, the artist is free, like we mentioned earlier, but we'll also have a $49 annual premium subscription. And these will be for events that we create, that we put together. These will be big things like spots at big events, big concerts and things. I look at our management team. Myself, I've got over 15 years experience in the music industry. That's kind of my passion. That's why I wanted to start this. And my knowledge, I've also got some great team members that are really good business people, which I need. We've got some great partners. Simeo, Aaron is here with us today. They're actually partners with us, and they're doing the development. We've got the site being built right now. We're looking at launching it around September. We've also got some brands that are involved. Marketing Guitars is a custom guitar company in Parkland, Missouri. They actually create custom guitars and we'll give them away on the site every month. So I'm really excited about that. I play guitars, so I love that. But this is only the beginning. The platform can be used for more than just music. we started out as an online record label where you earn points and get a record. So we kind of pivoted to more of a marketing platform, and so it can be used to sell anything from pet supplies to travel packages. Used for anything. And we've actually got our first license, our licensed site that will launch shortly after we do, called iDefi. This is a music site as well, but it's geared more towards and targeted at Christian artists and Christian brands. So they'll be launching shortly after us, and we're really excited about that. And that's really about it. So go ahead, if there's any questions.
Yeah, so now's the time where you get to ask questions about iDefi to anyone out there about what their model is, scalability, and so forth. So if you have a question, just get Dustin or my attention, and we'll keep the queue of who's next. So let's start with Dave.
My question, so how long do the campaigns run, or is that something that's a different pricing model with all the different
They can
brands?
actually, yeah, the brands, whenever they create them, they can actually set that to they can do a day, they can do a month, however they want to do it. We also set the per click basis on is it a local opportunity, regional, or national? And so whenever the artists log on, they can see local opportunities, then national opportunities, which are big things, which is like with Nike. They can see those on platform. Pretty exciting. Brad, did you have a question? Yeah.
Is there any way, Brady, you could give us somewhat of a demonstration?
Like a live demonstration.
Some type of a live demonstration for this
Yeah,
product.
maybe we could. Let's try this. This was not pre-planned at all. I just happened to have. So what we'll do a just kind of a fun game. What we want to do is we'll do 60 seconds, $20 gift card. And what I want you to do is, who wants to play? Anybody want $20 gift card? Anybody else? All right, it's $20. Ready? Okay. So what you got to do is I want you to text to as many people as you can, foolish things. Best coffee in Tulsa. I've got a timer on this slide, and I hope that it works. So we'll try it. Is everybody set? Usually I have a lovely assistant that does this. Everybody ready? Get set? Go. Oh, the timer worked. Now we'll play something dun, dun, dun.
This would have been a good time for your piano.
This would, yeah. Some drama type stuff. Weather today's gonna be great, everybody. It's supposed to be. Oh man. Yes, whoever gets the highest number texts the most people. Oh, we're down to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. All right, hey, raise your hand. Let's see how many you got. How many did you get, sir? How many? No. Okay, I thought you said 9. Yes. 3. Okay, that's cool. 5. You got 5. Okay, you're 5. He's in the lead. We got 5. You got more than 5. How many? 9. You got 9 right here. 9 right here. Who else? Who else? Anyone else? 13. You got 13. Great. Okay. Well, hey, you win. Perfect. So that was our live experiment. So she won the coffee card, but how many more people over this last 60 seconds know that Foolish Things has got some pretty good coffee? Maybe you want to come check it out. People texted you. I don't know. You were on everyone's list. But the reason that we're here is we're looking for brands that would like to work with. We're going to launch the first couple of sites in September. And this is a look at some of the different platforms that we can license. And Asimio will actually build those platforms. And like I said, it can be a little bit of anything. I mean, you would license that look for people who are passionate about different things. If you're passionate about motorcycles, that's cool. That would be something that we could set up travel. But we'd like to find entrepreneurs that would like to work with us, that are excited about different products, different subject area, and then also brands. I see the bow tie guys here, but I think we're working with them as well to get away some bow tie. We'll go with the questions again. Go ahead.
Can you talk about the profile of the brands that you think are really good fit for iDefi?
Sure.
And then secondly, with that grouping, who do you think they're going to best for their marketing dollars in the big growth model?
Right, that's a great question. The brands could be anyone that, from our standpoint, that where we're beginning, it could be anyone that wants to uniquely and effectively reach out to musicians. That's where we're at. But as this develops, and we have other sites, like maybe travel, this could be brands that really want to put together travel packages. One exciting thing that we've got down the road is I call iDefi Agency, which is basically going to be a site that's geared towards advertising agencies and allows them to come in and run campaigns like this on all the different platforms and manage them, see their analytics, and kind of see how everything is working. They also get a discount on it and so forth. So really, we want to be able to get it to where it's targeted at different areas, and we'll have all kinds of different brands. And the cool thing about it, I met with the guy at Acrobat and just kind of ran this by him and said, what do you think about this? He said, we're continually trying to get the clients that we work with to do creative, out-of-the-box type of advertising like this. And we had trouble with it because we'll go out and get this together and that together, and we'll be like, this is too much of a headache, let's just run some newspaper ads and get out some coupons. Forget it. And so what this does is it brings it all into one place where they can run that, they can manage it, and it's a much more effective type of advertising. And pay-per-click, everyone sees pay-per-click everywhere nowadays. Going across Facebook all the time, very rarely, everyone's become kind of immune to it, you can't even click on it. But it's a lot more effective whenever I go to Aaron and I say, hey Aaron, I've got this opportunity for my band to be, in this Nike contest, or songs going to be nationally put out there. Can you help us out? That's just more effective, and it's kind of a throwback to an old type of advertising, which is just word of mouth. Keep doing this.
Can you give me an example of how it work for a small restaurant?
Oh, that's great. I actually have one other model in this that I did not talk about, but we can talk later if you're a small restaurant too. That for food, you could do a contest where you would say, hey, we're going to give away, what's your restaurant? I imagine you've got one, right? Top That Pizza. We're going to do a contest at Top That Pizza. Oh, and I think you actually have this contest. Free Top That Pizza for a year. Whoever shares this with you the most gets a minute. But we're also going to have a variation of the model to where it is it's basically coupons. And basically you go in and let's use Top That Pizza and it says $5 off a large pizza if you share this on Facebook. But if you share it on Facebook and Twitter, the coupon becomes $8 off of a large pizza. But if you share it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, hey, we're going to give you free pizza. So basically, the more the people that you share it with, the better your coupon gets. And it changes right there in the widget automatically. Yeah, it's going to be based on if you do regional, local, or national. So if you go national, yeah. If it's local, we've got 3 different scenarios, and you put in your budget. And once you reach that quick budget, it doesn't just come down on the site completely. It'll still be out there. We're just not pushing it to the artist. If you choose a little higher budget, your per click goes down, and it's as low as 2 cents per click. It's pretty cheap.
Great question. Can you share a little bit just about your own entrepreneurial journey of iDefi and the pivoting involved in that, and just what you've learned, maybe kind of summarize it. Here's, over the last 2 years, here's what I've learned. Here's something I'd like to share with other entrepreneurs who are out there.
And yeah, that's a great one. We've been at this now for almost 3 years. We started off as a web-based record label, earn points, you get to this amount, and then we get a record deal, which is exciting. We thought it was exciting, but it was slow to get there. Artists were like, oh gosh, how do I get to 10,000 points? It's going to take forever. It was based on your sales, based on things like that. So that was our revenue, a long tail model. And so we got out there, we got 300 artists, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't working because it wasn't instantaneous. Most of the artists wanted something quick. So this model was actually it was going to be something we did a long ways down the road. We had already started thinking about changing it, but we got into the startup cup last year. I think we were like top 12 and got our butts kicked. Who's done that before? Anybody? But that honestly is the best place to learn. We got beat, and I went back and asked a question, of the judges, why did we lose? And I was able to go back and answer every question that they had, everything they didn't understand with the new model. So it made it real simple, and we thought, well, this must be something we've had that works. And honestly, over the last 2 months, we've gotten more traction and more good things happening than we did in 2 years with the old model. So that feedback you get from these kinds of competitions is really valuable. Questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a question. Could you revisit the differentiation between you and your competitors?
Sure. Yeah, the big difference is Sonic Bids would be probably the closest to us, and it's basically like you have a press kit and they submit it to different places to play and things, but they mostly deal with live events. They don't interact with any type of brand, and the artist is the one that basically has to pay. So we kind of flip that around in that it's an open platform, and it's an open platform like Craigslist or eBay or Google AdWords. You can go on midnight and say, hey, I want to create a competition on one of these websites to get this away and run it. So it's more, puts the power into the brand's hands, and then getting money. I found this out too. I kind of knew it, but getting any kind of money from artists is very hard to do. Very. But yes.
So I know you've gone down the path of raising venture capital. Can you talk about a little bit of what your experience is, both with the old model and with the new model? Talk about your incubator experience. You've gone through venture spur down in the city, but kind of venture capital, typical, and the
Yeah, the venture spur was it was a great experience. Again, it was they kind of go in and dissect what you're doing and give you a little bit of capital, kind of make changes and go forth. And then afterwards, they're still partners, so they're still working with us. So I can't say for positive, but if somebody in here wanted to say, hey, I'd love to start a travel site, and we can maybe talk to Venture Spur about giving you some funding, and we'll kind of get that started. So it's great. It was a great experience. And then the experience with raising funds, because I've been trying for almost 3 years, it's been night and day as well. I mean, it really went from talking to people and getting nothing to we got our first big investor was the CFO of Love's convenience stores, and then after that it's just kind of been other people that we've talked to kind of catch us fired. Everybody's now says, hey, I want to get involved. Where before it was like, oh, that's a cool idea, good luck.
So I'm looking at it and I think it's great. Let's say Dan goes for Nike. Now is Nike one of the brands that you're working with?
It's really not. I just use it because everybody. Don't tell them. Nobody's doing this, right?
It's fine. Just do it. So bands across the country have free access, so they're all going to put together a video and for this.
If they want to do a video, really, it's going to be like if they've got something on. They can say, oh, I love this Nike thing. I recorded this in my bathroom last night, and I put it on YouTube, and help me compete.
So my question is, there's a lot of great music out there, a lot of great bands that maybe they don't know how to market themselves, or they don't have the biggest platform. So are the clients, the brands, are they going to take like the top 10? But what about like the other 150,000 submissions? I mean, are you going to be selling those to like brand labels as far as like album labels and stuff like that? Because that's a lot of great lead sources for them to find new talent. Is that?
Yeah, that's great, and that's the best thing that I've learned from this is that there is tons of great music out there that nobody ever really gets to hear. And by competing in these, even if you lose, you're still getting a lot of great exposure. You're going to have people that, this gets shared, it's got the music, you go, wow, this guy's really great. I think there was a guy from Canada, what was his name? Justin something. Lieber, I don't know. He was on YouTube, that's the guy, he got discovered. So, there are a lot of artists like that. And part of the premium packages that we're going to put together, we're actually going to put together items that will help the artist. So it might be a PR package. We're going to take one of your songs, we're going to push it to radio. We're going to do press releases and market you to this. So we're trying to do things that can help. And we'll run those as a monthly competition. So if you lose this month, then you can try next month. And that's really our marketing. We're not going to really go the traditional route. We want to put items out there that artists are going to get excited about, want to compete for, and if they win, it's going to help them really go to the next level. And build their fan base and who knows.
Brady, I have another question for you, and you probably won't like this question. What do you think is the biggest hurdle or the biggest risk that you have to overcome for next year?
Really, this is kind of a different type of platform. There's really not anyone doing anything really like this. So I think the biggest hurdle is going to be really getting it out there and getting it out there effectively. We're going with a content-first model, which means we're going to try to put together as many cool giveaways, cool things as we can. We're going to the brands now and offering them to, hey, your first campaign's free. And we're trying to really connect with the brands over this next few months while it's in development and try and get them on board, get them excited about it. So we have so much content that they're just going to, everybody will just be blown away. And then other people seeing it and copying it, we're trying to counteract that with the licensing, in which we'll license it to all the different areas. So maybe down the road somebody says, oh, I'm going to just do what they did, but I'm going to do it with pet supplies. Oh, dang, somebody already did it. Well, never mind. So that's kind of been our strategy, and also it is patentable. So the entire system will actually be covered in a patent, including all of the networking to the agencies and everything. And that's in the works too right now. But I'm done, so get some assisting with it.
Any further questions?
Yes, go for it. Keep the questions down.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how big is your team right now? I saw the little bios there, but how big is your team right now? And real quick on that slide that you're on,
Yeah.
is that the future? Do you foresee a department for each one of those?
Yeah, these are the main areas that we want to license. And you'll see at the bottom one says miscellaneous non-exclusive. And so this would be like, that would be that. So there may be a competition where maybe the young professionals, I think there's some of them around, maybe they run a contest and say, hey, we're looking for the best startup idea. We're going to give them $10,000 from I2E to the best startup idea, and get out there and find out how many people love your ideas. So that's a great opportunity, as well as do stuff for nonprofits. I think that's very exciting. And then the team right now is myself. We've got a CFO, which is Richard Duchamp, so we guys know him. Great guy, very much. And then Mike Whitaker. I don't know if anybody knows Mike. He originally started you've probably got one in your wallet, the gift card things, rewards cards that you get at research and such. He started that company and grew it in his garage from like $400 to $100 million. So he does the business development side, and then we've got a sales guy. He's real key getting out there and getting these brands excited, getting them working with us. And his name's Peter. He's a great guy, and he's actually in a band and a musician too. So this is just, he's ready to get this. Yeah. That's what we got. Yes.
Of course, you had my brand for Scott Flash, but
Yes, I forgot to mention you. I apologize.
we're excited about iDefi because our niche is selling to musicians, and right now there's no efficient way to sell to musicians. But this platform lets us partner up with iDefi and say, okay, we're going to offer a Scott Flash premium account if you share this with iDefi. doing exactly what we can't do on our own is efficiently market to musicians. And I know this will work for other verticals because other companies struggle with how to market to this kind of segment. And this is exactly the kind of thing that I need for my brand and product Stop Flash to be able to get to our market. So we're excited about it. Excited to work with you guys.
We're excited to work with you too. And you touched on a really good subject too, that it's very valuable to others. Well, I did it's like a 90-second pitch or ramen thing. Get up there and pitch real quick. I did my pitch, and the guy came after me that was from Spot My Bags here in town. They do a hard-shelled luggage with their logo or your picture in it. And his ask was, hey, we just want someone to go around and talk about our bags. And so he came off the stage, and I said, how about thousands of people out there talking about your bags? He said, oh, we couldn't afford that. I couldn't do that. I said, sure. You just run a contest on iDefi. Artists love luggage, bags, especially stuff with their pictures on it. And you run a contest to give away 7 of your luggage. So they'll go out and share it with everybody and tell them about it. And hopes to win.
To wrap up the session, what can we, the community, do to help you?
Really, like I said, we're really looking for entrepreneurs that are interested in working with us in the model, maybe some different subject areas that you want to develop. Love to talk to you. Again, we've got the development team right here. And then also brands that would be interested in working with us initially too, just like Stop Flash. We've got one of those guys here too.
All right, well, let's give a hand for Grady and iDefi. All right. Well, if you, for the past couple of weeks, we've been sending out a newsletter at noon on Mondays to let everybody know who's presenting this week at 1 Million Cups, and also to give you the whole list of announcements and links. So if you're not on that newsletter, then just send an email to Tulsa at 1millioncups.com with the subject line newsletter, and we'll be sure to put you on that so that you stay informed about what's going on here at 1 Million Cups. Now, slide. All right. So last week, Kim Fuller with Find Me Tornado, Find Me Safe presented here at 1 Million Cups. And we've got to give props to Randy G. Langley, who's in the house right now. Randy tweeted to Mayor Taylor's Twitter account, to Kathy Taylor's Twitter account saying, hey, you should look into this. She replied, favorited the tweet. KOTV saw that and featured Find Me Safety on their broadcast on Thursday, and now KGRH is also going to feature Find Me. So let's all take a moment to pat ourselves on the back. And so 1 Million Cups is making moves here in the community. My concert is here at Foolish Things. It's Jazz Appreciation Month here in April, and so I'm doing a concert called A Brief History of Piano Jazz. There will be a 7-foot Steinway right where I'm standing right now. It's a week from Saturday, and if you need more information, there are flyers in the back. And also Venture Spur, which was referenced in the last presentation's accelerator, startup accelerator. Oh, we done? Okay. And they're having office hours on the 23rd. And that information is also in the newsletter. So sign up and you'll get all that. Lastly, we thought at the team that we always ask companies what we can do for them, but we haven't done as good a job of telling you what you can do for us, for the 1 Million Cups community, to make it stronger and to continue offering great content. We are, there are some companies here in Tulsa that we know about that we want to come and present, but we don't always have great connections with them. So we'll just give you 2 examples. For one, Prairie Artisan Ales, who you might have heard of. They make craft beer. And that we think that'd be a great presenter for us. If anybody knows anybody at Prairie Artisan Ale, then be sure to tell them how great 1 Million Cups is and that they should come and consider presenting. And then there was also a story in Tulsa people of Rustics caps, which are custom, well, not custom made, but very, very handmade caps that are made here in Tulsa. And we're interested in them as well. So, and any other presenters that you know of, any other startups that need to be scalable and preferably under 3 years old, we want them to know about 1 Million Cups because it's important to build the startup community in Tulsa to have more entrepreneurs here, and we're always looking for good presenters. So please keep that in mind and recommend 1 Million Cups. There's an email, there's a link in our emails just to forward to a friend. Okay, now we're on to our second presenter. These two just got back from the Governor's Cup on Friday, and they'll find out if they get to go to Las Vegas for the big competition tomorrow. They presented OwlPal, which is a way to monitor a child's asthma using a smartphone. So let's give it up for Mackenzie Ward and Jordy Albert at OwlPal.
For the record, I received 36 text messages back in complete agreement that the foolish things has the best coffee. I like it for row. So at the age of 2, I was diagnosed with asthma. I distinctly remember what it felt like to be connected to the breathing machine and saying goodnight to my sisters as they went to bed and laughed because I looked like an elephant. Little did I know, my mom has very different memories. She vividly describes holding me on her lap and praying and hoping that my treatment would last throughout the entire night. Regardless of how desperate her pleas were, nothing kept her from laying flat on her back, wide open, eyes wide open, and just waiting to hear me stop breathing or start coughing. So my name is Mackenzie Ward, and Jordy Albert and I have co-founded OwlPal. This is a mobile health application that helps moms like mine with this nightly fear. Every 6.15 seconds, a child in the United States has an asthma attack. And asthma is the leading chronic illness among children in the United States, affecting 1 out of every 10, and the statistic is rising. This year alone, just like I was as a child, over 5 million children will experience an asthma attack, and 47% of those will happen throughout the night. In the United States, 25 million people have asthma, and 9 million of those are children. Initially, OwlPal will focus on the 5.5 million children that suffer from persistent nocturnal asthma. This slide is a lot of numbers, so I'll just go ahead and quickly break it down for you. The total direct economic impact of asthma on the nation is over $3.2 billion, of which 910 million can be prevented with an effective nighttime monitor. So in order for us to completely understand the pain point in parents and homes across the country, we conducted a primary research survey. We asked parents, has your child ever had an attack while sleeping? We were shocked to find out that over 84% of parents responded yes. Their children have had an attack while sleeping. Nextly, we asked parents, do you wake up in the middle of the night to check on your child's breathing? And we found out that over 32% of parents responded yes. This goes to further prove our hypothesis that children and parents are having disrupted sleep as a result of nocturnal asthma. Next. Is it coming? There we are. Of all pediatric U.S. hospitalizations, over 30% are directly related to respiratory conditions, and over 65% of those hospitalizations are occurring because of nocturnal asthma. So it's a huge problem. Currently, OwlPal does have a couple of indirect competitors in the asthma space, but there are no effective, objective solutions to nighttime monitor asthma in kids.
So OwlPal's application is based on extensive academic research that's been done over using wheeze and cough monitoring as a non-invasive way to both collect data and to monitor asthma in individuals at night when they sleep. We've taken this academic research and we have repurposed it and packaged it into a smart device application that is functional on an Android or an iOS smart device. So with this, we take advantage of the internal acoustic capabilities of the device so it can perform the wheeze and cough monitoring through the microphone in the device. With the OwlPal application, parents can go onto the App Store and download the app and place a smart device near their child as they sleep. Throughout the night, the application will register the child's wheezing and coughing and will monitor for the severity of the wheezing and coughing as well as the frequency of the wheezing and coughing. If the child's breathing moves into predefined risk indicating parameters, it'll instantly trigger an alarm notification on mom or dad's smart device. But it's also logged into the OwlPal application, notifying them that their child is suffering from labored breathing, that they need to go assist their child, provide them with their inhaler, just give them whatever the assistance they need. So in addition to the added level of security that the OwlPal application provides parents, it also provides the opportunity for an added level of objective data gathering. So our record of nightly continuous readings instantly gets uploaded into a dashboard that parents can go to on a nightly, weekly, monthly, and annual basis so that they can track the prevalence of the child's asthma. Additionally, it allows for the opportunity for an added level of patient-physician connectivity because we can push all of the data we get directly to and instantly to the child's physician. So since OwlPal will function as a medical device, it'll have to get 510K clearance as a Class 2 medical device, while the regulatory process is often a very, gruesome process. The 510K process is less onerous. It can be completed on average in about 4.5 to 6 months. We plan to initiate our 510K trial on November 1st of this year with hopes of wrapping everything up by April 1st. For this study, we will use the Pulmatrack, which is the same device that was used in all of the academic research we showed. That will function as our predictive device. And as we stated, we do face a couple of indirect competitors. We prefer these indirect competitors for two reasons. One, they're going after a different market of asthmatics, and two, they're providing a solution that is more for daytime issues that individuals face with asthma. So both are sensor-based models that have to buy a separate attachment to work along with the iPhone or smart device application. For example, Airsonia is a device that you hold up to your neck whenever you experience labor and breathing. So it's a very sporadic solution. And then Propeller Valve is an attachment that goes along with your traditional inhaler that tracks compliance and then relays all that information back to the smartphone application. So they both cover issues that mainly occur throughout the day, so there's still not a nighttime continuous monitoring solution. Both are backed by 14 million volts. And then lastly, we're proud that we're backed by 5 issued patents. That's very rare for a mobile health company. A lot of these mobile health solutions, mainly because they're software-based, struggle to protect themselves with an intellectual property portfolio. We have 5 issued patents around the ability to use a bedside device to monitor a wheezing and coughing individual as they sleep. So not only is OwlPal,
We're at 6 minutes, so why don't you finish that? Not only is OwlPal.
So not only is OwlPal entering an untapped market, it is doing so under full protection of 5 issued patents.
Okay, terrific. Now, we have 20 minutes for question and answer, so who has a question for Jordan or?
I can speak loudly. So I think that's a really cool idea. I think it's really awesome. As the father of a 3-month-old baby, I'm like all about that kind of stuff these days. My question is anytime I know you deal in the medical space, there's probably a lot of risk and liability. Like, what's your strategic plan on how you get ahead of that?
So we'll have product liability insurance in the amount of $2 million. But it's not too much of an issue because it's such a non-invasive solution. The risk is relatively low. And as well, whenever the user signs up for the application, they have to go through a disclaimer and basically sign away their right to sue us if anything goes wrong. But we will have product liability insurance just to head events.
And in addition to that, can you guys hear me? In addition to that, the mobile health space is kind of a new landscape that we're entering, as not many companies are in a software medical device space. But all of that is kind of being sculpted along the way, and those are kind of being fine-tuned, and we will go along with that. But the product liability insurance of $2 million will help us with that. Michael?
That's my turn.
So this is kind of selfish. I'm in the process of writing a grant for pharma, for asthma, devices for kids.
So we should just talk about where Bruce ready to break down.
I'm writing a grant right now with a pharmaceutical company. Actually, I'm not. For connected devices affecting kids with asthma. So we should chat.
Sounds good.
Jordy just said he couldn't hear you because he wanted to hear you say it again.
I have a question. So it seems like the proximity of the phone to the sleeping child is important to gather accurate data of how loud or how wheezing actually is. How do you account for that and account for movement? Maybe you muffle the child being muffled by noise.
Sure, so Baron is asking questions about how we get the accuracy tuned in and the reading and listening to the coughing and wheezing. A lot of that will be clarified in the 510K process, so that is a regulation, a clearance that we will have to receive. Regulatory process is very typical. That will all happen in the clinical trials that we run in order to prove that this is effective. And a lot of the sound clearance questions, the range, those will all be answered. We have an idea because of academic research that we've done thus far, but those will all be solidified and confirmed through that process.
I saw where you had all the money laws, ER business, stuff like that. How will better monitoring directly relate to like ER visits and stuff? I'm assuming there's still will be some of that.
Yeah, we'll be able to cut down on the ER visits and hospitalizations and then unnecessary medications or visits to the physician that would arise if they were able to prevent these attacks or preempt them. So that's the $910 million of preventable costs that we listed off there.
So better monitoring means like you'll get to it earlier, be able to fix it before it gets to that
We'll
point.
be able to, as the child's breathing moves into these risk indicating parameters, the algorithm will be tailored, so that's very sensitive. We'll have more false positives. So we'll be able to detect the episodes at their very onset. So we'll be able to stop the severity of each episode, as well as we gather more data, we'll be able to potentially offer predictive analytics, which will potentially, we'll know more in the 510K process, allow us to recognize variables happening even before these episodes occur that will allow us to notify the users long before an episode is going to happen.
Hey, Jordy and Mackenzie. You guys did a great job. Good luck going into Gov Cup tomorrow. You're a very college story. I am wondering more about the patents. Are they issued to you, or what does the licensing agreement look like, and then how did you develop the technology based on that?
Right. So the patents are issued to the Novolon Corporation in Oklahoma City, which was founded by Dr. David Albert, son of famous politician Carl Albert, who was actually the chairman of OwlPal and will serve as our chief scientific officer. So Novolon is licensing the patents to OwlPal in exchange for preferred stock in the company. So that's the agreement there. And then the second part of your question was?
How did you develop? Did you guys develop the technology?
Yes, we actually, our lead software engineer came on about 2 weeks ago. His name is Alex Vallis. Has worked with Dr. Albert in the past with his company AliveCore, which is a mobile EKG. So AliveCore, Alex came on about 2 weeks ago and has just begun the process on the prototype. Alex is a very accomplished individual. He finished first in his class in computer science and electrical engineering at MIT. So he is started on the prototype, hasn't finished it yet. I'll have it here for you, but I guess don't have all of that covered yet.
So, 2 questions. Talk about distribution channels to complement. So he's got some questions. Let's see if I can what to complement obviously the App Store opportunity to distribute. And second would be when you've been gathering your data, what kind of feedback have you gotten about price sensitivity and insensitivity in the market for the app itself?
Okay, so the first question I'm going to answer has to do with distribution channels in addition to the App Store. How are we going to get this, which will initially be a free downloadable application to the moms and parents that are dealing with this issue? So initially, we are going to look at a physician prescription model. So we will develop relationships with a beta list of physicians that are willing to prescribe our application as if it was a medicine alongside the medicine. So we've already begun to speak with leading key opinion leaders in the field of pediatric pulmonology all across the nation. We've gotten a lot of people behind us saying there's a huge need in the market, and yes, they would be willing to prescribe this application upon receiving 510K clearance. So doctors from St. Louis Children's Hospital, Nationwide Children's Hospital specifically, and some local pediatricians that are interested in what we're developing. That will be the first distribution channel. It will also give us a lot of credibility in being a software mobile device. I think there's a learning barrier among our society and saying that there's this mobile device that is also the same device that I listen to Lady Gaga on. That'll just be something that will come to, again, it's just a learning curve. But having the physicians prescribe it will kind of help with that credibility. In addition to that, we have relationships with a gentleman that works for Eli Lilly, a leading pharmaceutical company, and was the lead behind $11 million in sales and marketing efforts. And through him, we intend on working with pharmaceutical companies and allowing a short window of free access to our data that we're accumulating on a nightly, weekly, annual, monthly basis, giving those pharmaceutical companies access to the data that we're continuously tracking, and in return, they will send out with every prescription information on our application. So that's a second way to distribute information about our application. And then thirdly, 3.9 million blogs exist in the United States alone that are just powered by moms. PricewaterhouseCoopers released a statistic that moms power 85% of household purchasing power. That's automotive, healthcare, groceries, anything. Moms 85%. And they have 3.9 million blogs that we intend on kind of parasitically entering in order to get the word out there.
As for price sensitivity, McKinsey briefly mentioned that we're going to release the app for free. We're going to have about a 9-month window of free access to it to attain maximum user growth. We plan on initially introducing a monthly service fee model starting on January 1st of 2016. So it'll be a 99-cent per month monthly service fee. We'll collect it on an annual basis, and each of the users will pay that. And we will begin to ramp up the fee each year. In that same primary research that McKinsey discussed earlier, we also discussed price sensitivity. And what we found was actually very interesting. So there are 5.5 million children that suffer from persistent nocturnal asthma. That's about 60% of children with asthma in general, but 90% of mothers of children with asthma. Just because a lot of other children suffer from nocturnal issues on a more sporadic basis, 90% of mothers said that they would be willing to pay for an application that could provide them with these functions. So the price sensitivity isn't much of an issue because there's no solution there yet. But with such a minimal fee of 99 cents per month, you won't feel basically any backlash in terms of attrition from switching over to the free model to the big.
Can you talk about your governor's cup experience? And I think you guys went to undergraduate division, not a written judge, I didn't judge you, so so is this something you're dedicated to after your undergraduate experience? And what happens if this takes off?
Right. So I'll let both of us answer because I'm sure we have different single answers. But we did not set out on establishing a company that we wanted to stay with upon having a competition. So we set out, just wanted the competition, potentially win some money, and just utilize a lot of the skills that we developed. We work with a whole life science fund here in town, and so we worked with a lot of innovative life science companies here in the state. Felt that we would have a good chance in the competition. But the more we worked with the actual technology and building out the business plan, working with Dr. Albert, the more of a reality it became. And he suggested and actually urged us to go on with the company after we graduated. So I'll be graduating here in about 3 weeks. And a couple weeks after that, we went going out to an accelerator to more, finally tune everything with the company, work with some opinion leaders in the space, and then be ready to raise a round of money once we get back here in the fall.
And to answer your question about the remainders of our degree, I do not graduate in 3 weeks. I should be graduating in a year, of which I will be pushing up until December. Jordy and I both we had plans post-graduation that we're kind of putting at bay right now and focusing on the company because we are really motivated and fulfilled by it.
So my question relates to the dual device solution that you proposed here. So you take mom's smartphone, put that next to the baby, and you take dad's smartphone that then gets the ping afterwards. So the baby goes to bed at, 6 or 7, right? For a young baby, it sleeps till 9 or 10. So for that 2 or 3 hour period, you've got a smartphone that could be getting text messages or whatever sitting next to a baby. So one, that's a downside. You could wake up the baby by a text message coming in, you put it on silent, whatever. 2, the mother is no longer connected to her phone. That could be a hard point. And 3, you're limiting yourself to people to families that have 2 smart devices, 2 iOS devices. And I don't know how much that hurts your segment. So why didn't you go for a Bluetooth microphone that sits nearby?
I have a lot of answers for you.
I had a lot of questions, so
that's a really valid point of discussion. And related to the need for 2 smart devices, we did some research on how many smart devices are average per household. We found that 5.7 is the number, which just blew my mind. In the United States, 5.7 is the average smart device per household. So even if there are only 2, the mom would have to surrender getting text messages. Our app will run in the background, so it doesn't have to be the most front. It can receive other things as well. The application will also run in airplane mode, so it won't be disturbed by anything incoming if you don't want it to. That's up to you. You can run in either.
sorry, that has the later. Sorry about that. And then your last question, remind me one more time, was, oh yes, access to, you're limiting the people in the Bluetooth. So we actually were looking at that model a lot more closely in the beginning, but we started doing a lot more research into access to smartphones and to see if there was a major drop-off as you got into lower income brackets or into just any other socioeconomic classes. And we found that there was no drop-off. Across about every single class, there's about 70% of individuals have access to a smartphone or use a smart device. With that being said, we are, as we begin to look at our reimbursement or the reimbursement model, we will look at developing a device that has Bluetooth capabilities that can be provided to families that don't have a smart device. So we are completely discounting that model, just not focusing on it in the beginning. And once we get more traction and we can potentially self-fund that development, then we'll look at that.
I'm wondering how different an asthma attack in the middle of the night sounds versus maybe just a coughing or wheezing fit. And the reason I ask is because I've got a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, and occasionally they'll have allergies and they'll go through coughing fits in the middle of the night, and sometimes to the point where they throw up. And so I'm wondering, can this, I guess I'm wondering, how do you differentiate from maybe just coughing and wheezing to an asthma attack, or is it something that could be for parents who their kids don't have asthma, but maybe severe allergies at different times of the year where they're coughing and potentially have choking hazards from throwing up from coughing so hard or something?
So to the second part of the question, the same research that goes in that went into actually developing the application, or the idea behind the application, it can apply to a number of different respiratory conditions. We're going after pediatric asthma initially, just as a proof of concept, to say that it's there, and then we will move into other spaces, whether it be sleep apnea, COPD, even just monitoring allergies in individuals as they begin to worsen throughout the year. And then your first question, just discerning the source of the coughing and wheezing. So that's been the major issue when we've talked with these key opinion leaders at the Nationwide Children's Hospital and St. Louis Children's Hospital. They say when you get to the 510K process, you won't have any issue on being able to use the device to register wheezing and coughing. You won't have any problem with that. And that itself is an extremely useful solution that a lot of physicians would get behind, and every mother has a child with asthma will want to know. He said the real home run, though, will come in the 510K process if you can discern whether or not that wheezing or coughing comes from asthma. So if we can differentiate whether or not that wheezing or coughing comes from asthma as opposed to something like post-nasal drip, he said that you'll have a home run that will completely transform the space. So to answer your question, it's another similar answer that we had earlier, that we won't be able to know until we go through the 510K process.
You mentioned earlier a lot of companies access to one-time access to the data. How are you all working with HIPAA laws and just privacy concerns of your users in terms of doing that?
So again, like a liability, when they sign up, they will have to surrender. They'll have to approve us, distributing their data. Just because in the age of big data, data is the most valuable commodity to a lot of healthcare and technology companies. So they will surrender the ability for us to freely use their data when they sign up for the application.
So the FDA pathway is expensive. How much money do you expect to need? I know you mentioned going to the accelerator. Where do you expect to raise?
Right. So we're looking at raising a $750,000 round right now, of which the majority will go towards the 510K process. We've worked really closely with Display Medical here in town, with Chase Curtis, and he's been an invaluable mentor, if you will, on how to kind of navigate the 510K process with this mobile health software application. And he's really kind of showed us ways that you can structure to really cut down on those costs, ways you can develop strategic partnerships with people that are interested in the same type of research as women. So right now we're in the process of identifying pediatric sleep centers across the U.S. That are performing studies over nighttime issues within children that have asthma. So we've identified about 5 different centers around the U.S. that can potentially be partners with the 510K process that can help share the economic burden of the trial.
I love that you guys are still in your undergrad and working on a business. business, and that you have 5 patents already, which is very impressive. And I like the idea. The question I think that's going to come up, if you guys go on the Gov Cup tomorrow, I think the question they're going to ask you is, do either of you have experience in the medical field? And do either of you have experience, like, do you make the device, or do you have someone that does that? Or?
Well, we don't have to develop the device. It's strictly software. So we'll have our software engineer will develop it, and that's like we said, Alex Wallace. We do have pretty good amount of experience in this space. We've worked for the Oklahoma Life Science Fund for the last year, which is a local healthcare venture capital fund. So we've worked with a number of innovative life science companies here in town. Together, McKinsey and I have worked on over 10 venture capital transactions that have attracted nearly $40 million of venture capital investment to the state. As well as we actually came on as project managers for Swayman in February, and are helping them to build out one of their new technologies.
And I must say, I wish I had gone to med school. You know, maybe that will come in the future. We can only offer the expertise we can. But going into the mobile health space this young actually doesn't hurt us, because the mobile health space is such a new industry that no one is really an expert on it yet. So that's one thing we can offer. And in addition, our experience at the Oklahoma Life Science Fund has brought a lot of people our way that are experts in the medical field that are kind of making up for those gaps in the management team.
Just be prepared for that question, seriously.
We actually just finished the final round last weekend, and tomorrow's the awards ceremony.
Okay, great.
So we won't be questioning you further for that competition, but it's a valid point.
Someday someone will ask you that question. So I have a question, kind of two-part. One is, and just like Brady, you probably won't like this question, but what is the one thing for each of you that keeps you up at night on this? What is the biggest like, this is the question mark, I don't know if we know the answer to.
So initially, for the first 2 months, it's the monetization. So you can look out there, and there's been case studies published on a number of mobile health companies, because no one's figured out the right monetization. Sorry. So there have been a number of case studies with a number of mobile health companies out there, because it is such a new space, over the business models they're employing, the monetization strategies that they're employing, because no one's really figured out the perfect model yet. So narrowing down what we were going to do for iDefi, and how we were going to monetize the app, was what was keeping me up at night the most in the beginning. As we began to work through that, kind of decide on a solution that we were comfortable with now. Yes, there's a chance for us to pivot as we move on. That was definitely the biggest issue for me. Right now, it's just getting to the point where we can have a good enough prototype that we can go into the 510K trial and see if we can actually discern the source of the user problem. Because that, like the pediatric pulmonologist said, that will be the real problem.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So, as a community, what can we do to support you all?
So I think the easiest thing is just looking around the room. About $10,000 from each of you would get us through the 510K process. Actually, it's a pretty good crowd size, so 7,500 might do it. But no, we really just need advocates. I think we could safely say that just about everyone in here knows someone that's affected by it. This is very much a solution that can have like a parasitic effect. As soon as one group is behind it, it can affect a number of other groups. And what's really going to translate to success for this company is the user base that we can develop. And that starts with identifying a number of advocacy groups in the beginning. So that's the biggest thing that we would like from, not only from you all, but from the entire community here.
All right, give it up for OwlPal. Thanks. All right, well that's it for 1 Million Cups this week. We'll be back here next Wednesday from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Tim, Brad, Barron, and I are leaving tomorrow to actually go to Kansas City and spend a few days at the Kauffman Foundation and meet with all the other organizers from all the other cities that are doing 1 Million Cups. So next week we'll be back with more ideas and more things going on. So like Barron said, the thing we need from you all is to tell other people that maybe want to be entrepreneurs or are entrepreneurs about coming, really hound them about, if they're an entrepreneur, then I don't have time, I got to be doing this and this. But you're here, you realize the value from hearing other entrepreneurs, asking questions. So companies for presenting and other people for the audience, because that's what we want to do is build a community. So thanks for coming. Thanks to Foolish Things for letting us be here and having the coffee. And we'll see you all next week.